Howdy, this is Lemmy with RevZilla TV, here to talk to you today about the Mustang Tripper Fastback seat for Yamaha Bolt. You should be looking into a Mustang Tripper Fastback for your Bolt for one of two reasons. Firstly, you want something a little more comfortable under your own keister, or secondly, you need to provide a seat for your passenger. These things are currently being made for just about every single Bolt on the market. 2014 and newer, you guys are covered. Installation on this thing is a snap. You're looking at a 1-bolt install for most of you guys. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Let's get right into the seat. Those of you who have purchased a Bolt most likely have purchased your Bolt and it has the stock solo seat on there. It's not a terrible seat, I guess, especially when you consider the mission of that motorcycle. However, stock seats can almost always be improved upon. The area I think Yamaha really fell with on the OEM seats is that add-on passenger seat kit. Man, those things look terrible. There's a huge air gap. They look really awful. They're probably not that comfortable for your passenger either because they're about that thin. Enter the Tripper Fastback. The Tripper Fastback is a seat the Mustang's been making for a long time, but they just recently started making these things for the Yamaha Bolt. They're really knocking it out of the park. So you can take a peek at this thing. Firstly, you'll notice the profile. This is a very slender seat. It's not very wide port to starboard. It's just not a particularly wide seat. In spite of that, even though this thing takes up a narrower area than your stock saddle does, it's going to be a pretty comfortable saddle because it's made of superlative materials. Now you can see this cover on here, marine grade vinyl. Those of you who've watched seat videos of mine before know that I love this stuff. It holds up really well to the daily rigors of riding. Flipping this thing over to actually discuss the skeleton of it, you're looking at a fiberglass seat pan here. Now fiberglass pans are rigid and unyielding, which sounds like it might not be comfortable, but believe it or not, they actually contribute a lot of structure to your seat, and they are comfortable because they don't give out over time. They don't get cracked and warped. They don't just die out. Fiberglass is going to be with you for the life of the saddle. One of the other things I love about Mustang saddles is they secure that marine grade vinyl cover with these aluminum rivets. It's a great way to keep the seat cover looking nice and taut. You don't get that kind of sagging cover look that can really make a seat look awful. The final thing I like about Mustang seats is you can see these rubber bumpers they use on here. These actually have two purposes. Firstly, they do help keep your paint safe, so the fiberglass of the pan's not digging into your delicate paint. But the other thing they also do too is kind of lift you up off of the frame and the fender just a little bit, and because they're rubber, they isolate you from some shock. So it's a little bit more suspension for your keister while you're heading down the road. Now installation on these things, as I had said, is not too bad. For those of you with a Bolt, you are going to simply use you have one point of attachment here at the front that requires a tool. You're just going to need a socket, an extension, and a ratchet. Most of you should be able to get this thing onto your bike in about 10 minutes. Really not that big a deal at all. The one thing you do want to consider if you have a Yamaha Bolt is because so many of those things roll out of the factory without a passenger seat kit on there, you now have a place for your passenger to put her butt. You don't necessarily have a place for her to put her feet. So keep in mind, if you're scoring this saddle and you don't have existing passenger pegs in your bike, you're going to need to add a set. That having been said, I really like this seat. I can't stand the way the stock stuff looks. I think this is going to be a big improvement for most of you guys out there on Bolt. My opinion is not the only one that matters though. Click below, check out some of our other, check out some other riders who are rocking this on their bike have to say about it. If you got a question that I didn't answer, do one of a couple of things. You can either get in touch with one of our gear geeks at 877-792-9455. You can email one of our gear geeks at cs@revzilla.com, or you can drop a comment down there in the comment section for me and I will try to help you out my very best. As always, I'm Lemmy, I'm out of here.